kill shit. 6 feet.
All right, 6 feet going deep. It's Torius with
Miles Arnell.
All right, Miles. Why don't you tell us about what you do?
Yeah, Nick, I'm a singer-songwriter, recording artist. I've been doing this thing my whole life, and the world's really opened up for me the last half decade. I've had the great pleasure of doing some things I'm really proud of in the music industry, and meeting some people who've really inspired me, and both in and out of the industry. And I'm just really blessed and grateful to be able to continue doing it, looking forward now in a post-COVID world,
Yeah, definitely. It's funny that the kind of music that you make, right? Because I was just thinking yesterday how I wanted to make like something similar. Because I also produce music. What started you on your music journey?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, for me, it was long time ago. And when I say a long time ago, I mean the beginning. When I was a little kid, my parents were avid music listeners. My mom was a singer. My grandfather was a singer, like in the Rat Pack era. He did his Frank Sinatra thing, which I'm trying to bring back, by the way. And basically they sat me in front of these two big old school speakers, and they played all the oldies, Motown, 70s funk. Hall and Oates is a big one, because my uncle actually played keyboards and was the keyboard tech for Hall and Oates. And Elvis, particularly Elvis, Elvis's greatest hits, the Beatles. So I grew up on really, to me, the best era of music. That what they call the rock and roll era from, or the R&B rock and roll era from the late 40s, early 50s through the early 90s. That's really what I grew up on. So it was just in my face all the time, and I just had a natural affinity for it. I was gravitated toward it since the beginning, and it was something I just couldn't deny or get out of my mind. And from there on out, I grew up playing sports, so I stayed active in that capacity, but I was always just drawn back to music. So that led me to joining different bands and kind of finding myself over the developmental years of teens and all of that. So I really started to experiment with different sounds, different influences, just allow myself to be inspired by everything and anything happening around me at all times, and finding myself amongst all that. So that's sort of the Cliff Notes version,
Yeah, definitely. Have you seen the Elvis movie?
You know what? I'm supposed to go with my folks. I'm actually right here. Funny enough, I'm in the room I grew up in here. I'm visiting my parents back here in Connecticut, but we're supposed to go this weekend. I'm really excited. I can't believe I haven't seen it yet. I've just been, incredibly busy, just like you guys. Everybody's busy, but I've been told that I have to see it. Literally have to see it. So, have you seen it? Is it good?
I was told the same thing, that I have to see it because a lot of people were saying that it was really great.
Oh yeah.
So you're basically influenced by Frank Sinatra. What was it about that sound that you really liked specifically?
That era, it was so raw and so real, and the emotion translated very spontaneously. There was really no ability to go back and do a crazy amount of editing or post-production. Things were captured live and, in their true essence. And I just love the whole luxury aesthetic. I love, dressing up, being stylish, looking sharp, feeling good, and, things that are of a top shelf nature, a couple bourbons, maybe a cigarette. I'm not condoning cigarettes, but certainly they smoked them in that time. That smoky lounge vibe, it's just something I've always been attracted to, and I think it's really badass on one level. And it's just something that's certainly missing right now today in popular music. So, on that level, I think there's certainly a lot of room for it. But what inspired me most about it is just that rawness and realness, man. It was just freaking money. It looked expensive.
Where do you feel in 2022 that style of music, like or like not even just the music, but like the whole aesthetic can fit into into where we are right now? How are you bringing that back?
That's a great question. I think, up until now, I've focused on, and this is actually something that Bruno Mars does a lot, and I look up to that dude so much. Huge fan. I think he's the best male artist in contemporary pop music by far, in my opinion. He looks to an era and he sort of borrows from it. If you look at an unorthodox jukebox, that's like Sting. It sounds like a Sting album. 24 Karat Magic is like early 80s synth funk. And now with what he's doing with Anderson, with Silk Sonic, there's your 70s yacht rock, merged with Motown. So up until now, I've been sort of focusing on that same 70s sort of era of funk and soul, with incorporating modern pop elements and melodies. And I love that. But in terms of where I see that fitting in today is it's timeless. That the quality and that aesthetic is completely timeless, and it never really went anywhere. All you have to do is walk in any store around Christmas time, and all you're going to hear is Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra, and all those cats. So I mean, I think it never really went anywhere. And basically, what I aim to do now with the new projects and new records I'm working on is bring that back, but not in a traditional way, but merged with today's melodic structures, with today's sonics, some of today's sonics. So it's really merging the old with the new to create a hybrid, if you will, and give that tradition a voice while looking toward the future and saying, okay, there's now somebody occupying this space that's there anyway, but there's no current faces really occupying it. The last person I think who masterfully did it was Michael Bublé, but even Michael Bublé was extremely traditional in his approach, which is not wrong. But I certainly want to merge today with yesterday, if that makes sense.
That's what I was going to say that you reminded me of, but I forgot his name.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, no, he's phenomenal. I mean, he is phenomenal. He kills it. Again, every Christmas, you're going to hear him everywhere forever.
Is there any type of music that someone would not really suspect you of listening to? Like anything on your playlist?
Dude, that's a great question. Yeah, I listen to, sometimes I listen to country. I listen to everything. I listen to a whole lot of Mozart, Debussy, classical music. In the morning, I try and start my days when I can, with a little classical music. And even before I go to bed, put on Claire de Lune or something. It just takes you to another freaking stratosphere altogether, and like another realm.
Do you feel like listening to Mozart makes you smarter?
Yeah, man, I heard that too. There's an actual scientific study where they're insinuating that listening to Mozart can strengthen the connections in your brain and raise your IQ. I believe that 100%. The intricacies of that music, to dial into that, yeah, you have to be. It makes you think. It compels you to think. Definitely.
I find that it's funny that whenever I listen to Mozart, I would always hear music that I've heard in like movies and like TV shows. I'm like, oh, okay, that's where they got it from. Like, does that ever happen to you?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. It puts you in a place to be inspired and to be receptive to new thoughts. That's the best part about classical music by far.
Yeah, definitely. Do you play instruments?
I do. I started with a little bit of bass, moved into guitar, and then can keep a little bit of a beat on the drums, but then piano as well. So I'm somewhat well-rounded. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to play Mozart for you. Probably not, but certainly can get by composing my own songs or helping to compose other people's songs or performing certain songs live for sure. So yeah, instruments to me are important. They're something that kind of went missing in popular music for a while. And I love over the last few years, I've been hearing them coming back. Everything Calvin Harris is doing, do it with Dua Lipa. Once again, sort of that funk disco era sound is bringing back live instruments. And then MGK, I got to give him credit. He's bringing back, that early 2000s pop punk era. So again, I'm seeing instruments, I'm seeing real drummers on stage, not just beat machines. And So yeah, instruments are important to me. I think let's bring them back, man, all the way.
Do you listen to rap music?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, hip hop wise, I'm not as much a fan of the newer hip hop SoundCloud rap, if you want to call it that. I understand it, you know, Migos style rap where it's the triplets, hugga the booga the doom, the dubba the booba the boom. Like it's I get it, you know, you get a little drunk and you put that on, it's a good time. I'm not gonna lie, it feels right. It hits right. The beats are amazing, you know, the 808s, they knock, you know. But I like that era of 50 Cent, Eminem, Nelly. That's sort of my era of rap that I listen to, for sure. That Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, like early 2000s rap to me kind of hit the peak. That's just me though, you know.
The reason I ask you is because I find that like a lot of the rap music nowadays is very thoughtless, right? As opposed to the classical music or the stuff that you are more typical of listening to. And I was wondering if like if you have any way of like, if you think that there's any way of taking the emotions and the new thought patterns that you get when you listen to classical music and more like articulate music, and if you can implement that in like a rap song where there's less thinking to be had.
That's an interesting point. So are you basically saying if rappers listen to classical music, they might have a more sophisticated approach to their craft?
It's like listening, it's like having two different planets, right? Like two different worlds. Like classical music is here and then like rap music is here. And is there like,
right?
Yeah, what I wanted to know is like if you think there's a way of like branching the two because they're so totally opposite of each other.
There may be a way, but it also comes down to the consumer and the listener, right? So it's probably, let's just say Mozart. I mean, I might be an anomaly because I listened to Mozart even as a teenager, but I'd say for the most part, the age demographic that listens to modern rap, like you said, which is more thoughtless in nature, they're probably in high school or college. You get the occasional middle-aged woman dancing around on the dance floor to it, but that's cool. But you know, I think at that point in your life, it makes more sense to have those thoughtless raps on your playlist because you're kind of living in the moment. You're, you know, live fast, die young type of attitude. It's at least kind of how I was for a period of time. Mm-hmm. And you put that stuff on, you're drinking with your friends, you're out having a good time, you're partying, you're smoking, you know. It's tough where people who listen to Mozart, you've gone through some experiences in life where you're more introspective, you're reflecting more, you're thinking more. And certainly I bet classical music is for thinkers, period. You don't have to be a musician. You could be a architect. I don't know, anything that requires you know, introspective thought, novelists, writers, politicians, overworked businessmen and CEOs who just have to think all day and have so much going on that classical music helps you unwind and organize your thoughts. So I think it's just two different points in people's lives. To bridge that gap would mean either younger people have to be more balanced, which I'm sure many are, I'm not generalizing, or I guess older people would have to say, you know, screw it, I'm going to go out this weekend and get drunk with my friends at 48 and put on some Migos, you know. I don't know if you can find a real happy medium there.
Yeah, because what inspired that question is that because when I listen to like rap music or when I listen to like, because I listen to mostly metal, but I just
dope.
Yeah, but I listen to a lot of like classical music too, like with a lot of like instrumentation, and they're able to blend the two very well. And I've been able to like cry because of a song was so beautiful that like it was just composed so beautifully. But I've never cried because of a rap song was so beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I appreciate your honesty there. I think you got a reasonable point. I mean, the only song that could really get you in your feels on that level, I would say, is like if you want to go back even further and listen to some of like Tupac stuff, you know, like a song like Changes, and you listen to the story he's telling, and it creates a movie in your head of this man's struggle, and you're like, man, if I'm a sensitive enough person, if I'm empathetic enough, that will spark an emotional response. It's just natural. But you're right. There's no way I'm putting on a Little Yachty record and going in the next room and getting misty eyed. That's not happening, you know.
What
if
song?
Anything, you know.
Yeah. What song has ever gotten you to that point where you're just like, wow, this is so beautiful? Sorry.
Certainly Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve.
Okay.
I put that on my worst days, and it helps me get through it. Sometimes you just got to get it all out, man. You know, there's no shame in it. We all here's sort of a separate point I want to go into on that. It's kind of unrelated, somewhat tangent-ish, but it's like us as men, we're and we should be strong, but we're sort of told to not engage our emotions, to suppress our emotions, and to not be emotional at all, and to be completely non-reactive. And to a large degree, I agree, we have to keep our composure, be strong for the people around us. We should always aim to be the strongest, most powerful version of ourselves as men possible. I agree with that. But at the same time, we still all have, we should have an emotional capacity, and we hold things in. And sometimes it's good to express those things. You know, it's funny. It goes back to that old thing where every girl wants a guy to be sensitive and to open up, and so they do. And then, you know, and she throws you to the curb, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
so
TikToks on that.
Right. Oh, there you go. So at least I'm not the only one bringing that up. But that's, sorry to go on that tangent, but yeah, like a song like The Verve, Bittersweet Symphony.
I was actually interested in what you were gonna say after that.
Oh, no, it's just look, we can't, there has to be a fine line between there is a fine line between being soft as a person, to where you're just a pushover and you don't believe, you have no confidence in yourself. That's a whole separate thing where you just have an inferiority complex, and you won't speak up in a room, you won't express your beliefs and your ideas and your values to the world. That's no good. You know, we don't want that. But even the strongest men that I've had the pleasure of meeting, you know, that are like brothers to me, or like family to me, or even just really good acquaintances that are extremely wealthy, extremely, you know, in positions of power. I've had the pleasure of meeting some outrageously crazy people in my life so far. You know, when you get close to them, you realize they're going through a lot of the same things we all go through, and sort of gender becomes meaningless at that point. Whether you're a man or a woman, you still feel things. You should, like I said, be able to feel things, and unfortunately, as men, we're sort of pushed into this corner of not having or not being able to express that, and if we do express that, it shows weakness, and that's certainly not the case. It's not. It's important that we express ourselves. I'm glad I have music. You know, not everybody has an outlet, but it's important we express ourselves, because let's face it, men are what, I don't want to be quoted on this percentage, but I think it's something like we're responsible for 85% of the suicides. 85% of the suicides, I believe, are men. Why is that? Well, because we hold so much in, and we're kind of expected to, and that's sad. So again, I'm grateful I have music. I have that outlet to express all that shit bubbling inside. I can, you know, expel it, so to speak. But a lot of people don't have that, and they feel like they can't express that, so it builds up. It's sad, you know.
So going off of what you just said, how do you express that in your music? Because what I would hear, like, people, like, mostly men say, is like the kind of music that you make, like, not in any offensive way, but the kind of music that you make is primarily like what girls listen to and less guys listen to, because it is a little more on the sensitive side. So it's like, with your demeanor shows the opposite, but then the music that you make is more like showing your sensitive side. So how do you express that?
Well, that's how I get it out. I mean, a lot of the songs I have out now, and don't get me wrong, I think it's important to be well-rounded. And you'll see the the stuff I'm working on now is quite a bit more that will be coming out in the coming months, is pretty vulnerable, more so than anything I've done. And part of the reason because of that is the point I was just making. But yeah, I think it's important to express all sides of yourself. You got to still feel like the shit, you know. It's important to feel like the man. It's important to be strong, like I said before, and I want to express that, and I feel like I have expressed that through some of the music I already have out, you know. Certainly referencing some you know, bedroom antics in some of the songs. Why not? You know, it's part of human nature. But yeah, it's just important to be well-rounded. I guess that's the best way to say it. And I just don't feel like, for instance, this next record I'm dropping on September 2nd, it's going to unveil a totally new experience that I had in my life. Because again, it comes down to experiences that compelled me to write that way, in a more vulnerable way. So some of the songs I have out now, even when they were released, I'd actually written them years before. So I think it's also about, once again, having life experiences that lead to emotional, internal, you know, emotional experiences that compel you to write from different points of view emotionally, you know, channeling different emotions. The younger you are, the more likely you are to go out and have a lot more fun, a lot more often, and be a lot more reckless. So that's going to always show in the writing. You can always tell the younger an artist is and everything. The records tend to reflect that. And as you have more experiences and mature a little, it reflects that as well. And, you know, we start to grow, we start to have, you know, different experiences, and that's what happens.
So when you look back on your old music,
yeah,
do you ever go back and say like, oh, why did I write that? Like, what was I thinking when I sang those lyrics?
Nah. I'm not big on regrets in general, but definitely not creatively.
Do you see the growth?
The who? I'm sorry.
Do you see, when you look back on those old records, do you see the growth in yourself?
Yes. Oh, totally. Because here's the thing, and I've fallen in the same trap in the past that I think a lot of people have fallen into, is you, despite having good mentorship, by the way, you know, I kind of, you're going to do your own thing, but you kind of try and imitate what other people are doing, especially when your goal is mainstream breakout success, you know, Billboard Hot 100, you chasing eyes on the prize type of success. When you have that as your aim and your goal, there's a tendency when you're writing and when people are writing in general to try and imitate what's already out. But then somewhere along the way, again, I was blessed to have great mentorship. You figure out, or you're taught, that what you're imitating right now, you're 6 months too late. You have to be sort of anticipating what's happening next, and more importantly, staying true to yourself and what you really want to express to the world. In the end, that's always going to resonate with people more than saying, oh, let's make a song that sounds like this Charlie Puth record. Hey, let's Dua Lipa just did this in her song. There's a guitar solo after the second pre-chorus, so we should do that too. You know, a lot of writers fall in that trap. So when I look back, I don't regret anything. But and I don't really have any songs out where I see that I put out, but there's certainly a lot of stuff that never did make it out for that reason, where I say, oh man, I was just trying to do this. Like, I can see, I listened to a lot of 90s Max Martin written songs that day, and I was trying to make a Backstreet Boys bop. What was that? You know what I mean? Like, and you listen to it, you're like, man, what am I doing? You know? So that's no regret, but certainly looking back on the stuff I really don't have released and saying, oh man, I'm glad now I'm doing whatever the hell I want. Let's put it that way, you know, wherever I feel.
Do you ever feel like by the time that you start on a trend, that it's too late and you just might as well not even start on it?
100%. Early adopters win the race every time, in business, in innovation, across the spectrum, music, whatever. Early adopters or originators, really, they win the biggest. But yeah, if you see something trending sonically, let's say, or musically, and it's already a thing, and it's already charting, and it's hit the top 10, and it's on every radio station, and it's streaming huge on Spotify, you missed that. You know, move on to the next. You know, Definitely, I agree.
In your genre of music, people don't really care too much about industry plans, right? So I want to know your point of view on what the term is of the industry plan.
That's crazy, man. I was talking about that with some of the dudes I'm working on the new music with. We were just talking about that. And industry plans, just so I understand what that means, because it might mean something different to you, so we're on the same page. That's somebody who's basically funded completely by a label or somebody well connected, and just sort of they just keep throwing money at it until it works, type of deal. Is that basically what it means?
Well, pretty much. Like it's just someone who like it's like someone that it's like following the trend, and they couldn't get a certain, like I'll just say, for example, Little Pump, right? He was like the original Little Pump, and there was an artist, his name was Icy Narco, and he was basically like copying Lil Pump. And I grew like I seen Icy Narco come from like nothing to like over like 300,000 followers, and he got signed. Yeah, and he got signed to a major label. And I saw people saying that he was an industry plan, and me myself, like witnessing his growth. It's like everyone was hating on him and saying that he's an industry plan, but in your genre, it's not really as taboo as in rap. So I want to get your point of view on that.
Yeah, interesting, man. I don't know much about it, for me. For me, it's there's been nothing but hard work and grind, and any relationships I've had the pleasure of building and developing have been organic, and they've taken time to grow. So I can't relate to that concept at all. God bless whoever's doing that. I wish them all the success, but my position on that is I don't think it can even really happen in that genre or whatever genre. Again, I'm really attempting to and creating my own sound. So I'm not really competing with anybody. In the past, again, maybe not so much the case, but as long as you're, again, staying true to yourself and creating a sound that is uniquely yours, you can borrow from other sources, but as long as you're doing that, no one can really be an industry plan, because no one can imitate you. And if they try, you've already won. You've already carved out your own space in the industry and in the music scape. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't think that really happens. I think you're right though. With rap, it's easy because a lot of rappers go viral on TikTok or Reels or meme pages on Instagram, and that's sort of like the United boy, whatever that thing was I was going on, those dudes with the, I don't know what that was all about, but it's a whole nother world, man. I can't relate to it because I don't know it that well. I only see what I see, and I'm sure whatever goes on goes on.
Are you signed to any labels?
No, I'm 100% independent. It hasn't always been that way, but yeah, as of now, independent.
So if a label that you're signed to said, all right, Miles, we need you to start doing this genre that like they're like appealing to this audience and like changing up all your whole style and everything, what is your reaction to that?
Well, it better be a good deal. Because no. I say that jokingly because it's not so like I know what you're saying. You're saying if they say, hey Miles, we love your whole, the thing you're doing, that's great, tuxedo, cool. But we want you to pierce your nose and get tattoos in your eyeballs and spike your hair, dye it purple, and do an MGK tribute band, basically. No chance. No chance I'm doing that, And, it's not the old music industry, luckily. So nobody's throwing around those kind of, dollar amounts anymore. So there's no offer in the world that could make it good enough for me to do that. People can see through it. People can see through it.
What is your craziest music industry conspiracy? Like, do you believe in like clones and all that stuff?
Oh man, the clone theory, man, I love conspiracy theories. I've always been an avid conspiracy guy, just for pure entertainment's sake, if nothing else. There might be some truth to some of them, but I don't want to get into too many of them because they broach the political spectrum, and keep that over there. But there's no doubt that I believe in some kind of Illuminati. I'm not sure exactly what it is, and I do think it maybe infiltrated the music industry. You know, are there really reptile aliens that occupy the bodies of the biggest stars and politicians in the planet? I don't know, but I do want to find out one day. That's all I can say. You know,
Do you believe that?
I'm an open book, man. I'm open to some crazy beliefs. I'm like a big into UFOs, the paranormal, like so the Pentagon released all those documents and those accounts from Navy pilots that UFOs are indeed real, and they say they don't know what they are, even though I think they do. So I'm open to anything, man. We really don't know anything. That's the truth. Science continues to evolve and change, and everything we once believed turns out to, shift over time. So who knows? Maybe. Honestly, I've seen some things in my life and experienced some things that I realized that anything is possible, but probably not.
Wait, I was going to ask you if you think you need to sacrifice anything to become like a superstar, but what do you think is the most that you have to sacrifice in order to get to the level that you want to?
My man, I think that's a cop out. I think people use that like sacrificing to become a superstar thing as a way out of why they didn't achieve a certain level of success. That's what I think. I think rumors like that are started by bitter people, because that's a hell of an accusation, and that is completely outlandish and outrageous. Is it possible that there's a small group of people in Hollywood who are completely twisted and evil to that level? Sure, I'm open to that, but I don't really think that's going on to say, okay, hey, one of the 10 million people who want to be famous right now, which everybody wants to be famous with TikTok, right? Especially now. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who probably would do some really twisted stuff to be famous. So I think there'd be a lot more famous people if that were real, if that were a real thing, where all you got to do is do something horrific and you're famous then, so that's my belief.
But you do have to, because you do have to sacrifice something, like sacrifice working a lot, like at a regular job, or like time with the family, stuff like that.
You're right. That's a given, unfortunately. Well, no, fortunately, it depends how bad you want it, and I think anybody's family should understand at that level that you're living out your purpose. So yeah, you got to sacrifice time with family, with friends, some of the simple joys in life, free time. I think it really takes everything. It's got to be a full commitment on all levels, definitely.
What 3 songs would you want someone to listen to become a Miles Arnell fan?
Oh man, I love that question. Definitely the new stuff coming out. I got to preface it on that, and I definitely want to talk about that, before we go. But yeah, man, I would say check out, if you go to my Spotify, check out Lay It Down, a collaboration with an EDM producer, Big Z. It has a lot of funk mixed with EDM, mixed with soul, and some pop vibes. There's a good blend of genre there. Love in My Veins, definitely a really fun, upbeat, disco influenced song that has some really cool James Bond like lyrics. And another one that I think is a sleeper. It didn't perform as well on streaming services, but it's called Throwback. And it's the first little glimpse I think I give you of this new side of me coming out that's more Rat Pack era inspired, very much sultry, soulful, and very intimate. So I would say if you want to check out those 3, that'd be a good place to start to build our relationship with the viewer here.
So you said the first one was All Night Long, right?
Oh, the first one was Lay It Down.
Oh, because I was gonna say All Night Long is my favorite. Like,
oh, wow. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's with my man Momo Sounds. Shout out to Momo. Yeah, no, I've done a lot of collaborating with dance producers. A few of the songs charted in Germany, like number 27, I hit twice over there. So I love the dance world. That's something I'm passionate about that too. I like contributing whatever style I have to their style. It's cool.
What concert would you, or like festival, do you want to perform at the most?
I definitely want to do Coachella a lot. I love Palm Springs, if for nothing else, and I think it has a great reputation. Bonnaroo would be awesome. Man, all the festivals. To be honest, the festivals are probably the thing I look forward to, anticipate in the future the most. I just love the idea of, ever since Woodstock, man, that's amazing. I love that experience. It's so communal. It's awesome.
Have you seen like the Woodstock documentaries?
So inspiring, bro. Like,
Yeah.
That era just speaks to me. It really does. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Like, so right now, September 2nd, my new single's dropping. It's called "You Had Me at Goodbye," and it was co-written with Sarah Allen. Now, Sarah Allen is Daryl Hall from Hall Notes' longtime girlfriend. She's a family friend because, again, my uncle played keyboards and was the keyboard tech for Hall Notes, and she helped Hall Notes co-write "Maneater," "Private Eyes," "Can't Go for That." For anybody viewing who listens to older music, maybe Hall Notes, to me, they're timeless. Greatest selling pop duo of all time. So to have her, contribute to that song, even in a small way, is freaking amazing to me. It's a dream come true. And then on top of that, I'm working with Mac McKinney, who, again, he's worked with Neo, Diddy, Cody Simpson, Brandy, Grammy nominated twice, Juno Award, CSAC Producer of the Year Award. The guy is just one of the most talented human beings I've ever had the pleasure of meeting in my life. One of the kindest people, and he's become a very good friend of mine. Him and my other good friend Fonzie, shout out to Fonzie, an amazing artist and songwriter, vocal producer. Him and Mac are kind of like a duo of sorts. They came over my house in Vegas about a month ago, and we spent just well over a week just writing, producing, having a lot of laughs, and it was just an amazing time. So all the songs that we started writing and producing, they'll be coming out over the next few months. So I'm really excited to get that out into the world and to unveil sort of this new, improved version of myself. I'm really excited to share that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check out. Because I never listened to Hall & Oates song. Or like, you definitely inspired me to like go and check all these artists out that you're like shouting out.
Yeah, man. No, of course. But hey, metal's cool too, dude. I went through a metal phase. Dave Mustaine and freaking Metallica. I love everything. So I'm with you.
I was gonna tell you about because you can see that we have like a minute left, right? Because
yeah.
Yeah, I'll just probably like continue recording on another one. But I was gonna say, like, what I noticed about Metallica is that they kept their sound, but then they just like switch. Like I feel like the reason why they're so successful was because they were able to adapt with the times. That's like what we're talking about.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, timeless as well.
Yeah, exactly. Where can they find you at?
You can find me at Instagram at Miles Arnell, or Spotify. Again, just type in Miles Arnell, Arnell. YouTube, Miles Arnell, consistent across all platforms. And I post daily, and I interact with every single person who follows me. I'm really building a tribe and a community of people, inspiring positive thought, and becoming the best version of yourself aside from all the music. Really trying to build a tribe of positive people who want to make a positive. It's extremely important to me to inspire other people however I can. I've been that way my entire life. For some reason, people have always just felt comfortable telling me things that they wouldn't tell other people. And when I was younger, I didn't really understand what that was. And as I got older, I realized part of my purpose, or I believe at least my purpose here on earth, is to help people both on an individual and through the medium of music and the arts on a collective level. I've changed my own life through a certain mindset, through adopting a certain mindset. And I know anybody and everybody can do the same for their life. So when I see someone who's broken or who's going through something internally, I know that if they just adjust that internal factor that's broken, everything that they experience on the external will change, and they will begin manifesting blessings within their life. I'm a big fan of anyone who's a proponent of the idea that we can create our own reality to a degree, and we can take control of our life, our destiny, and the outcome, positive or negative. So like when people follow me and they become part of the tribe, I like to say is you're part of a community where people have a positive mindset. They want better for themselves. They want to become the greatest version of themselves. while enjoying life. They want us to just stop and enjoy the miracles happening around us at all times, the beauty of nature, the simple things that we just neglect on a daily basis. Again, just nature. It comes down to that old saying, stop and smell the flowers, right? It's kind of that simple. As corny as a cliche of that sounds, it's profound, man, how my life has changed by just being grateful for the simple things. Hey, my mom woke up today. You know, I can walk today. I can see. I just had a full meal. These basic things can lead to so much happiness. It's crazy, man. And just, you know, beyond that, on a bigger level now, I just try to encourage people to follow a similar path that I set out on for myself quite a few years ago when things weren't the same for me, and to adopt that positive mindset. And, you know, I get people reaching out to me consistently through the last few years being like, hey, you inspire me. Hey, that thing you posted helped me. Hey, that thing you said about picking yourself up when this happens really, really helped me today. And I'm like, all right, it's all the proof I need that this is part of my journey as an artist, is to actually be there for people along the way. It's not about only self-glory and, you know, how many diamond Rolexes can I buy? That's cool. That stuff's great. But I want to impact other human beings in a good way, you know?
Definitely. But before we go, what are 5 things that you're going to accomplish by the end of the year that you want to manifest?
Yeah, my man. I love that question. So certainly getting this next single out, and then I would personally love to get 2 more out. So three songs out before the end of the year, and establish a thriving TikTok presence. Because right now I've really neglected TikTok. I tried it for a while, but I've been a tried and true Instagram guy. Maybe it's because I'm a millennial, you know, I don't know. But
is your TikTok like full of Andrew Tate?
No, so my TikTok is empty. I've had like 8 TikToks, bro. I've created like 8 different TikToks and tried so many different things, especially during quarantine, and just none of them really clicked. I had a couple videos go viral, but they had nothing to do with music or anything that I'm really trying to do. So I was like, this is stupid. And Instagram just worked better, you know?
Yeah.
But that's a major goal of mine. And then number 3 would be to start booking shows again. There's nothing I love more than performing in front of people, because talk about bringing people together and inspiring them. Nothing can accomplish that quicker than being in front of them and giving them a show and channeling all of their energy into myself, giving it back to them. And it's this give and take. It's a beautiful thing. It's my favorite part of being involved in music, period, is being able to perform live and capture people's attention, bring them together.
You don't ever get nervous when you perform?
Not really. Naturally a little bit. Everybody does, and including me. But I had a good friend once give me a mental hack, and he said basically, fear and excitement is the same emotion. One's channeled positively, one channeled negatively. So I just choose to transmute the fear, however little there may be, into excitement, and realize, oh, I'm just excited. I'm overly excited right now. I haven't been this excited in a week. I don't remember the last time I felt this excited. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, your brain's like, oh yeah, he's excited. Let's go. We're into this. Like we're doing this, baby. It's showtime, you know? So instead of thinking, oh my God, it's just what you choose to buy into within yourself. It's that simple.
Oh, definitely. I think you got 2 more, right? 2 more things you wanted to manifest and accomplish.
Yeah, I would say those 3 are sort of the big 3. I'm trying to keep it lean, but certainly without sort of giving away too much, because my thing is I don't like to talk about things unless they're like definitely going to happen. But the next 2 things really are a little bit outside of the scope of music and into business, because something I did over COVID when everything just, you know, crash landed is, you know, I started working with a lead generation / marketing company that operates out of Florida and New York. And that was awesome. You know, I was kind of there, the 3rd guy in as they were founding the company, which is really cool, because I think I'm an artist that thinks like a businessman. I force myself to be that way. So helping them kind of scale that and build that was really cool. And it allowed me to get up off and back onto my feet, and then some. So I would like to establish some, passive income streams. And if I could secure 2 of them, that'd be amazing. Because again, I'm operating independently right now. I have no immediate urge or need to sign with any label. And if and when I ever did do that in the future, it would only be out of a place of leverage. Again, thinking like a businessman, you got to have leverage on your end as an artist today, or else it just doesn't make sense. You're going to sign away everything and they're not going to do anything for you. And that's a word of advice to any other like musicians watching or up and coming artists or people even just getting into it. Do not sign that first piece of paper or first PDF document that arrives in your email inbox that says record deal on it. Do not sign it unless you have a thriving, active, consistently building fan base that you are monetizing. Because if not, a record label will simply take a cut of everything you do and do nothing for you. So you're going to end up having to get yourself off the ground anyway, and they're just going to take the profits when you built yourself up. Guys, do not do that. That's all on that.
No, definitely. All right. I think you had one more. You want to say one thing like real quick? Because I was like top 5.
Oh, no. Yeah, of course. You're making me think about it. Well, okay. So here's a personal one. It'd be great to, right now I'm single. It'd be great to establish, for me, like relationship wise, I would love to create a partnership, like some Bonnie and Clyde shit. You know what I mean? Like that's what I see. I want to find that queen and make sure, she can build alongside of me, like someone to build with. Jay-Z and Beyonce, man. Exactly. That's what it's all about to me. That's always kind of what I've envisioned a really stable, healthy, productive, inspiring relationship to be. It doesn't come from a place of neediness where you're smothering each other. I like my space. So it's like, I want to build with somebody and create an empire. You know what I mean? Like that drive, that ambition, that passion, so I would love for that to come to fruition. But if not, hey, I'm an only child. I've been single for a while. I'll be fine. But
no, facts. Definitely.
Right.
So this has been 6 feet with the one and only
Miles Arnell.